this is what we are working on today. We're going to open this cement silo. We've got high moisture corn in it. And the other guys are going to be working on cleaning up a mess that we have out behind these bunks out here. We'll show you what this mess looks like. Everybody's got a mess area like this. Ours we've got to clean up because we are going to be putting up some bunk walls. So this one used to be the last bunk that was out here, was this one right here, this wall. And then we poured the cement pad out here. Oh, it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I want to say the pad only went to where that truck is parked, if I remember. Yeah, it only went to there, and then last year we extended the pad on to the east and put up that wall. Well, now what we're going to be doing is we are going to have this wall put in, and then we poured a cement pad out back here. Oh, this was about a month ago. They're working on getting things ready for the wall on that other side. But what they have to do here now is we have to move these tires out of the way so that we can cement over to this area here. So that's what we're doing with this stuff. All right, so we are up in the silo. I'm having to video this or do whatever with my phone because it's not too bright outside, and my GoPro doesn't really pick up the dark areas that great. But we didn't have quite enough corn to fill this silo completely last year, so we're down 12 doors. And I want to say this settled about 2.5 doors. So I'll have to go back to an old video to figure out, you know, how far it was filled. But we've got a cover on here. Nate's down on the ground. We'll cut this cover up in quarters, and we'll just throw the pieces down the chute, and then we'll lower the unloader. He'll lower it. We'll get it to the point where we want to stop it. We'll stop it, and then we've got to put the blower pipe on it, remove the distributor. I'll have to have him come up in here to give me a hand lifting that stuff and carrying it and whatever like that. So this is kind of the same routine that a bunch of you have seen us do for the past bunch of years. I don't want to bore too many of you, but there are some viewers that have not seen this process. So I know it's repetitive for some of you that have watched for a long time, but it is what it is. So when this silo is filled, we have a roller mill set up down on the ground. Now this is for those of you that don't understand this kind of stuff, so it's not for the professional viewers. But we process this corn, it's whole kernel corn that comes through a roller mill that's down on the ground. It gets processed, blown up a pipe on the side of the silo, and it comes through that gooseneck that drops it down on the unloader. There's an angled panel right there. This unloader is usually higher than this. Hits that panel, there's a spinner called the distributor that distributes it to the outside of the silo, and that unloader, while you're filling, makes a slow revolution all the way around the silo while you're filling. Drops the pile down in. It usually leaves a well, it's usually higher on the outsides than the middle. What we did is we leveled it off and then covered it, and now we're removing the cover. Some guys don't level nothing off. They just wait till they're gonna feed it, and then there is a large area of rotten feed, feed that has spoiled from the oxygen getting into it. So we put this cover on here so as not to have as much rotten material. So some of you are probably going to be asking, geez, don't you have to worry about cave-ins? No, we don't on this particular kind of a silo because of how it's filled. It's not, a grain silo is a little different from when they pull grain out of the bottom. The grain could bridge and cause a cavity underneath the grain, and then after a while that will drop, and if you are in the grain, you could be funneled down into it when that grain flows to that cavity that's on the bottom portion of the bin. So no, we do not have to worry about that in this silo. Another question I'll get is, don't you have to worry about silo gas? No, not really. Not at this stage of when this was filled. The feed is already fermented. It has gone through that gassing stage, if you will. And other than there being some moldy dust and whatever on top of what is in here, that's really the most harmful thing that's in this silo right now is the dust. This is this is what is called an open silo. In other words, it is not an airtight silo. So dust and gases can and did build up, and as that happened through the fermentation process, the gases were able to escape and fresh air was able to take its place. So we'll go ahead and get this cover off, and we'll join back up with you when Nate gets up in here, and we'll put this unloader together. All right, so I didn't quite cut this in half. I'm a little small, so we're probably gonna have to do this in 5ths or 6ths. But I've got a couple of pieces cut that I'm ready to throw down. There must have been a hole in the plastic right here. But this is what the corn looks like underneath. So the cover did a good job. We're gonna have this remnants that are left on top. That is gonna end up spilled over onto the good stuff, but we'll just let this unloader run around the outside, or run around to get some of that stuff out of there so that we can feed down into some good quality feed. I don't know why that black spot is right there. There must have been a hole, and well, that's only a little bit. So, all right, let's get to moving here. All right, so we've got the cover off. I think I cut it up into 6 pieces instead of 4. But Nate's gotta let the unloader down. While he's letting the unloader down, we need to lower our cord. And then we'll get our cord lowered down, and then I've got to reposition doors. I need 2 open to feed out of. I think I'm gonna have to have that one and that one there. I think we're a little too high yet to be able to call that door it. It depends on if them unloader wheels are gonna make it around without falling out the hole of the door. So we're gonna move some stuff around while he is lowering this unloader, and we'll join up with you when he gets up in here. And yeah, all right. All right, Nate has made his way up in here. The unloader's lowered. I've got the doors placed. I just remembered that I forgot to buy a clean chute, so we'll have to get one of them organized and gotten. But we've got to take our deflector pan off, set that over here, and then put our blower pipe on, and then he can run down and run it. So, all right. Right? Well, Nate's getting this clamp collar loose, and then we've got to take the piece of plastic off of the motor here. We cover the motor up just so that corn dust doesn't get into it, and then all that stuff gets moldy and all that crap. So we'll get that off of there and get the rest of it set up here. Alex is gonna go get us a piece of plastic that I forgot to order. What am I doing, Nate? I'm not doing too good here. No. Forgetting shit. How many steps do you have in so far today? You don't know?
3,300.
3,300? Huh. That's pretty good. Does it count the steps going up the silo? No.
It all could have been extracurricular activity too.
Oh yeah? Do you put your hand up in the air like you're on a rodeo when you're doing that extracurricular activity so you can get the step vibrations in? All right, so we've got the blower neck on there. Nate has crawled down the chute. He's down on the ground waiting and ready to turn this on. Hey Siri, call Nate. So we'll wait for him to get on the horn here, and we'll have him turn everything on and we'll run it. Hey, you got your items out of the auger down there? Yeah, you might as well turn the auger on, then you can turn the sound loader on. We'll stay right on the phone. We've got to run it around to this particular height here. It's got to go all the way almost, and then I'll have you lower it. Run in and hit your rotational switch on the inside for the winch. Okay, you gotta run that from the back breaker box? Okay. Actually, you're gonna wanna run that winch from the inside so that if I need you to go up right away with it, you can go up. Okay. You could turn that silo on as soon as you're ready. That breaker was on that breaker panel. Yeah, hold on a second. Why didn't the blower kick on? Did you already trip the breaker in here? Yeah, turn it on again. There it goes. The breaker, I turned it on for the blower, you know. And yeah, I don't know why. That must be the contact was just goofed up a little bit. So we'll have to wait till it goes all the way around, then I'll have you lower it some. So. was actually some stuff down in that blower neck that just fell down. So that might not be clear. Sounds like it is. Let me throw a clump in there. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, we got it good. Wait until the feed gets to it. Shut it off for a second. Make sure this throat's clean here. Yeah, it is. I gotta adjust this blower some. The motor, did you give me that wrench back? I'll have to see if I can get it with this crescent wrench. Alright, there's that. Okay. You can turn that on. Alright, so we just gotta wait till this gets around and then we'll let it down. Alright, you can let that down a little bit. That's good right there. Let it down a little more. That's good right there. that's run long enough, Nate. Shut the sound loader off and let that auger clean out. And then I'm coming down. So I'll see where Alex is, and I'll, yeah, put this clean chute on. Okay, we'll see you. All right, so we let this run around the silo twice, and it's high from about over there, which I would call that 12 o'clock. 6 o'clock is the door. It's high from about, like, say 1 to 4 or 5 o'clock here. So we're gonna crawl down the chute now. I've got to run some crap out, but I don't want to run too much out because that clean chute is not on there. It really doesn't keep the chute too awful clean, but what it does is it provides a funnel for us to get the corn right down to the auger. The corn doesn't come down at a rapid rate and then dust out the seams of that silo chute. So we'll crawl down to the bottom, see where Alex is at, and then we'll crawl back up in here and get this clean chute put on there. All right, Alex is back here with this clean chute. We'll run that up in there and get that set up. You can see it is making a mess on the outside of this silo because we're running some crap out now. It's got it all dusted down through there. You want to climb up in there and put that on for me? No? No. You can just set that over there. Alright, we'll show you what kind of a pile we've got honked out of this silo here. We've got to run a little more out. So we're going to shut it off now, and then we're going to put our clean chute on and run some more out. How'd you make out?
Good.
Yeah. Well, we're coming into the end of the day. We had a rather successful day, I guess. Got this mess out here on the corner of this bunk all cleaned up. We had 8 sets of duals. We took 4 sets of them over to an auction, and Andrew and Tim and Nate took the other 4 sets that we had and we put them inside in a barn over on another farm. They should have been inside a long time ago, but this side's all cleaned up here. We had this stuff piled there to be kind of out of sight, out of mind. They've got this far side here. They've got the footer area ready for the wall on that far side. They've got to get that spot over on that corner over there set up for a wall, or for some concrete rather. And then we're going to put a center dividing wall in here. We left that concrete out last year because they didn't have time to put that wall in when we had the rest of this pad poured, along with putting in that wall on the other side. We ended up throwing away about 6 tons of corn out of that silo. I think that's the correct math anyways, as far as what we piled it. That's over there. We've got a fresh pile of corn run out for morning, and the nutritionist has adjusted our rations to start allowing or implementing the high moisture corn into the ration. That bay there and the other bay, both of those bays, we dumped cornmeal in. We had a fresh load brought in today, And then we're gonna feed about 40% of the corn ration will be high moisture. There's probably, I don't know, maybe 60 days worth of corn in that silo. So with that being said, that is gonna do it for this video. You guys are taping up the spout. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll catch you at the next one. I've got calling hours to go to for a neighbor that has passed away. So we're having to bank out of here a little early tonight. It's almost 5:45. So we'll catch you at the next one, folks. Take it easy.